Mr. Andrew Henriques. Recently, someone sent me an article by Mr. Henriques titled, "Jesuits were committed to narrowing the gap between church and state using the abortion issue." It reads, "One indicator that the gulf between church and state is soon to be closed and that the passage of the National Sunday Law Bill is soon to become a reality is that the issue of morality is being used as a pretext to unite church and state. And if abortion will ever become illegal in America, church and state must be completely united." I don't understand. I have a question. During the 1800s in the USA, there was a massive effort to use legislation to make abortion illegal. This effort was led by medical doctors, and it was called the Physicians' Crusade Against Abortion. The American Medical Association had been formed, and historian James Moore writes, "Physicians affiliated with the American Medical Association launched an aggressive campaign against abortion on the eve of the Civil War. This campaign by medical doctors became so successful that every state in the Union had an anti-abortion law of some kind on its books by 1900 except Kentucky, where the state courts outlawed the practice anyway." Question number one, if abortion must require the combining of church and state, then can you please explain how abortion was made illegal for almost a century without the combination of church and state? Furthermore, the Adventist Church was officially founded in 1863 at the exact same time that the Physicians' Crusade was taking place. And even though the church was just founded, and even though the leaders faced a multitude of challenges and pressing issues, Adventist leaders were loudly and publicly condemning the sin of abortion, condemning other denominations for supporting this sin. They published anti-abortion sermons from non-Adventists in our own official journals, and they showed open and unashamed support for anti-abortion legislation. I document all of this in detail in my video, Ellen White and Abortion. Adventists wanted everyone to know that they were against abortion. Dr. Horatio Stover, the leader of the Physicians' Crusade, even though he was not an Adventist, and even though the efforts of the American Medical Association to lobby the government to make abortion illegal had nothing to do with the Adventist Church, yet the official Advent Review and Herald, published right here in black and white, the medical profession have taken a noble stand, and society owes a debt of gratitude to Dr. Horatio Stover of Boston. Abortion was recognized as being so serious and such an awful crime that Adventist leaders did not hesitate to publish sermons and writings of non-Adventists on this important topic. They left no room for misunderstanding. The Seventh-day Adventists were decidedly against murdering unborn children. Question number two, if Ellen White truly is a prophet of God, and if God in heaven truly did raise up the Seventh-day Adventist movement as the last-day remnant church, then can you please explain why there is not one word from Ellen White warning against support for anti-child murder legislation? James White, Uriah Smith, J.N. Andrews, Dr. Kellogg, and several others all publicly denounced the crime of killing unborn children as murder, and there is not one word from Ellen White that their efforts were hastening the dreaded Sunday law. Mr. Henriques, can you please explain that? Early Adventists were publicly against slavery, against alcohol, against many evils, and they were publicly against abortion, and they willingly and gladly and publicly cooperated with authorities to end these evils because they are crimes against humanity. Mr. Henriques, question number three, if you don't want to answer the other questions, then I openly challenge you to at least answer this question. Your article teaches that Christians should be concerned that Jesuits want to make murdering children illegal. You are teaching that abortion is a matter of religious liberty. Here's my challenge to you. Religious liberty is defined and has always been defined as a matter of worship and only worship. It does not mean liberty to rob banks or rape or murder children. Question. If religious liberty is about worship, and you are teaching that abortion is a matter of religious liberty, then please explain how killing a child is an act of worship. How is violently attacking, dismembering, and brutally murdering a little boy or girl an act of worshiping God? If you could provide evidence for that, then that would be great. This video is very important because, as I document in my other videos and has been documented in our official magazines, the Adventist Church accepted and began practicing child murder in 1970-71 for the purpose of making money in our hospitals in the North American Division, NAD. In the beginning, Adventist Church leaders did not really have any type of theology to defend this because the truth is that it can't be defended. And that's why it was kept a secret or, quote, unpublished. However, over the years, the stench of the foul and dirty secrets of the NAD began to leak out, and folks got angry and demanded that the church address this issue. Leaders in the GC and NAD, however, wanted to keep the pro-abortion position, and to do so, they did some word magic and conjured up the ideology that abortion was a matter of religious liberty. This, of course, is a complete rejection of science, rejection of our very public church history, rejection of common sense, and most importantly, it was a complete rejection of God's word, which consistently consistently and unanimously defines the unborn as children, sons, babies, and brothers. And by defining them as human children, they are under the protection of the Sixth Commandment. I made a whole video on religious liberty, so please see that video for more detail. And for anyone who may have a shorter attention span, check out this video here, The Magical Birth Canal. It's only 1 minute long and does an excellent job explaining the insanity of Adventist abortion propaganda. And to be clear, for the purposes of this video, I am not asking about the historical practice of actually murdering children in our hospitals. I am not asking about the hospitals. His article right here does not even mention hospitals. This is about the moral position of the worldwide Adventist Church supporting the deliberate murder of children. There are two problems: abortion in our hospitals and the moral position. Problem number one is the result of number two. We have the hospital problem because of the moral position, and that moral position is based upon the perversion of religious liberty. The idea that violently attacking, abusing, and murdering a little child is religious liberty is the number one lie that has been used to justify this terrible sin in our church. This is an absolute lie, straight out of the mouth of Satan, and it needs to be damned and condemned. Mr. Andrew Henriques, what you wrote is very confusing. Would you please explain how violently attacking, dismembering, and brutally murdering a little boy or girl is an act of worshiping God? As you wrote a public article, we hope that you will give a public response. Thank you very much. Peace.